And Alvin is from Singapore, so he writes down Singapore. Yeah, so it would help us to understand you more.
Okay, can I introduce myself?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Okay, my name is Maheshwaran. You can call me Mahesh, or you can just call me Mr. M also will do, in case you find difficult to pronounce it. And I'm attached to Takaful Malaysia. Takaful Malaysia is one of an insurance company, but it operates based on Sharia law. It's Islamic law, but it's open for Muslim as well as non-Muslim. So I'm attached to Takaful Malaysia, so which is about, I think it's one of the top 10 company in Malaysia.
Wow, great to have you. So thank you for the introduction. So shall we start? Yeah. So welcome for attending this Monday sharing section organized by AsiaHRM. I'm Foster. AsiaHRM, founded by Victor Choi, is an Asia online platform for HR managers and professionals like you. So our tagline is share to care and care to share. We aim to add value to HR in Asia. With this aim in mind, we organize a lot of programs like this one, monthly sharing section. And we also have mastermind sections in different countries. And also we have another mastermind section for Asia-wide. Recently, we launched a business partner certification program conducted by Rita and Mr. Hassan. And beforehand, we had OKR, our Objective and Key Result Area Program. And to keep adding value to our members, we have a book club host every Thursday evening, 9 Hong Kong time, Singapore time. And beforehand, we conduct an Asia-wide survey for HR regarding the post-COVID-19 HRM. So these are some of the highlights of AsiaHRM programs. So let me talk about myself again. I'm Foster Yu. I'm the core committee member. Together with me today, we have Rita Choi, the founder. We have Alvin as the IT control. And we have Dear, and we have some of our active members in AsiaHRM. Of course, we have our two honorable guest speakers here. So I will talk about them later. Today, the topic is Agile Transformation. We all had a discussion on this topic. We talk about Agile human resources from an organization point of view. The guest speaker will share with you some management techniques and the experience in conducting organizational agile program. So this is really an valuable experience sharing section. We are so glad that we could invite Miss Norhamijah Mohammed Hanafiah, the Deputy CHRO and Talent Management, who will speak for us first. And she also conducted a mastermind section for us beforehand. So thank you very much. And another guest speaker is Mr. Andhyka Soemarsono, Head of Organization Development and Talent Management at Sun Life. So two of them are agile professionals. So to encourage all of you to have a better online Zoom experience, so I would suggest you to change your mode to speaker mode so that you could talking to our speaker directly through Zoom. And the program is like this. We will start very soon. And then after their speeches, we will have Q&A section. But if you have questions you want to ask, you want to ask them, that you can write them down in the chat box underline, and we will share with them. And during the seminar, we hope you can mute yourself so that the speech could be conducted smoothly. All right. So let's welcome Mia. And Mia, could you also introduce yourself a bit more?
Hi, everyone. Assalamualaikum. A very good afternoon. How are you guys? I hope you are feeling well. I think with all this pandemic, I hope everybody stay safe, stay at home. No, don't go out. I think then the pandemic is quite bad, right? So just take care of yourself, and everybody will able to stay at home. Okay, I just thank you, Foster, for the introductions. Basically, my name is Norhamijah Muhammad Hanafiah. Call me Mijah. I'm actually working with Telecom Malaysia, one of the largest telecommunication industry in Malaysia. If you are, I think, quite a number of Malaysian here, right? So you'll be able to know what is Telecom Malaysia TM. So I'm actually deputy of CRO of Telecom Malaysia, looking overall, basically not only the talent management, but as well as the whole spectrum of the HR on the strategy and planning. So today, I'm going to share with you guys on how is actually Agile be implemented in my organizations, as well as probably you can ask question if you have anything. It's quite, I think it's going to be interactive sessions, and I don't want like one-way sessions, right? So especially in the afternoon after taking your lunch, everybody, if you are not participating, most of you might, go sleep, right? Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay, can you guys see my screen? Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, yes.
All right, okay. So there's a few topics that I wanted to share with you guys. One is actually, why do we go Agile? What are the 3 laws of Agile? Agile is a mindset, not a methodology. Agile is a key component in doing all these transformations. And on the last, I'm talking about key learnings and key takeaways in ensuring Agile way of working. All right, so why we go Agile? Agile is it's actually, let me put the screen smaller so everybody will be able to see. Do you guys see the screen? Full screen? All right, so basically Agile is actually why we go Agile. Going Agile is something that creates for us a company-wide ability to change quickly, adapt. We'll be able to renew and also succeed in rapid changing and ambiguous customer environment amidst intensifying the market competition. Agile creates for us the company-wide ability to be quickly reconfigure our tactical strategy and executions, reconfigure people, the process, technology towards value creating and also value protecting opportunities. At first, I can share a little bit background. When we are actually, Telecom Malaysia is a very huge organization. We have about 21,000 employees around Malaysia, and also some of it is actually international. What happened is actually we are very bureaucracy, because we used to be coming out from a government, then we be privatized. Now it's actually a corporate organization that evolves telecom, the organizations from slow and stable organizations, and because we wanted to actually be more competitive outside. How do we want to create? How do we want to go faster? How do we want to become known in the industry? Because in telecommunications, the technology, it was very fast. If you cannot catch up with the market, you'll be going to be you're going to be left out. So when we actually adopt Agile, we want to create a new momentum for the whole company. everybody needs to embrace the agile, new way of working. So in order to do that, there are 3 laws when we talk about agile way of doing things. One is actually obsessions with continuously adding more value to customer. When you do agile way of working, customer must feel the value of doing things. Small, it has to be a start with small. You think big, but you start small. Small means you have to break it out into small tubes so that it will be more faster. You can actually you can be more faster, more quicker, and able to adapt with the new environment. So you have to be as a small. It's a cross-functional teams, meaning that you got people from other divisions. Not only that, for example, if you are talking about, I'm looking at customer experience. Not only the customer experience will involved in that projects or in that elements, but you are the group of people coming from the marketing, from the product, from the customer experience, from the network, from the IT, as well as from finance and also HR. So it's a cross-functional team on small tasks in the short interactive work cycles, delivering value to the customer. The method is actually coordinated work in a fluid and interactive network. So these are the 3 laws of Agile. Okay. So when we talk about Agile, it's not about methodology. We have to have, it's like you got a group of people, you got the process and so forth. No, Agile is about a mindset change. Agile is an approach where to collaborative problem solving for exploratory work informed by a mindset of value, principle as set forth in the Agile Manifesto. So Agile mindset inform personal behavior, ways of thinking, and also actions along with Agile. So if you could see Agile here, that is actually being Agile is a mindset. Then we describe the 4 values, we define the 12 principles, and manifesto through a non-limited numbers of practice in doing Agile. These are all the approach when we talk about Agile. Okay. Agile manifesto, for example, here, individual and interaction over process and also tools. Working output, customer collaboration, responding to change. This is something that everybody needs to embrace the Agile new of mindset, new of working, new. What are you going? We're having this new mindset. You'll be able to address a few principles. Okay, when we talk about Agile, it has to address certain things, which is actually satisfy the customer, welcome changing the requirement, delivering frequently, work together, trust, support. We got to face-to-face conversation. We need to see the output has to be sustainable, continuously, maintain simplicity. It has to be self-organizing team and also to reflect and adjust. You got to Agile is not a cast and stone. Agile is something that you need to work it out from time to time and adopt and review and adopt. It has become a process by itself. Then you'll be able to use some of these practice like Scrum, Kanban, extremely program. These are some sort of methodology that be able to make sure that the Agile is actually ongoing. The other thing is actually the new execution in implementing Agile. Agile is the key component. First of all, we must be able to know they got 3 components, which is accountability, focus, discipline of action. When we talk about accountability, when we embark on Agile, there must be a clear accountability from the sponsor to the initiative owner. And also, Agile way of working is actually empowering the executions by the value program team. So it's like you got a big picture out there from the direction of the company. You break it out into a small achievable group of people with a clear accountability, and these people will be able to prioritize the initiative and which actually provide the highest impact to the value program, which is actually tied to overall company directions. And then you discipline of action by having a ruthless monitoring of key leading indicator, as well as transparent. You need to update the C levels on a weekly basis to identify area to fix, continue, and also start. These are the basic component of Agile to make sure the execution's running. Okay. So this is where I wanted to share with you guys. We start Agile in a small way before this. And in HR environment, people always look into other organizations, other parts of organizations like customer experience, IT, the network, and so forth. But we also have an Agile kickoff in HR in 2019. So what happened is actually we started the Agile by management site visit ING. It was in 2016, and we started it in pilot in Johor, where everybody in Johor participating and actually try to do a pilot of how do we do Agile in new way of working. So at that point of time, we started with 7 teams in 2017. Then we have about 116 members and also 9 pilot Agile coaches. Then we moved to end of 2017, we got another additional 4 teams. Then we got 36 members. Then we increased 8 Agile coach. And this is actually, we piloted one of our segments we call Unified Group to adopt this new way of working. So it's actually learning and learn how to reiterate and adapt with the new way of working. So in 2018, until we'll be able to see the evolutions of the Agile kick in across Telecom Malaysia, we started in 2019, we're having about 38 teams, about 420 teams members. It's actually participating in this Agile way of working. And 25 coaches were identified and be able to transform the team. And here we started in 2020 with 17 teams in HR because the rest of the part of the group is actually adopting the HR, the Agile way of working. And we in 2020 we started to have it internally within HR group. So we have like 578 team members, about 30 Agile coach when we were started to kick in HR. So we have a lot of elements that is actually supporting the whole organizations, the whole AOP business plan. So a lineup, and we be able to achieve and make it more quicker, and everybody be able working towards that. In 2020, 2021, we have actually increased 80 teams, and now we are actually having 1,100 team members with 33 Agile coaches and also Scrum Masters. So this is where the evolution of the Agile in Telecom Malaysia, by we having a small teams, and now we're actually spreading it throughout the organizations. Okay. So when we talk about Agile, there's a lot of chatter about Agile HR around, can HR become an Agile? Why is it needs? Can HR become Agile? Then we are for Forbes and then McKinsey company, and Agile HR leads to happier employees. People Matters, we talk about Agile approach takes HR to whole new level of responsiveness. And these are taking, people are talking about how do Agile HR be able to change the people perspective and able to support the whole overall organizations and able to achieve the directions and also the targets. Okay, then we talk about Agile in a change in the value culture. Is when we talk about Agile, it's more about changing the mindset and also the culture. There's the 3 things when we talk about Agile: a new way of organizing, a new way of working, and also a new way of decisions making. So these 3 elements is actually part you must create around your organization and become a norms and a culture by itself. Because by not having it become one of the culture, it's going to be like a project managed. You know, it's going to be like it's not going to be embraced. It will be like one-off, something that is just a flavor of the year, a flavor of the month. So when we talk about Agile, it has to create more values and it has become the culture of the organization. When we talk about a new way of organization, it's actually, I mentioned earlier, it has to be a cross-functional team aligned to the business priority, and it has to be accountable for the outcome and looking at the customer centrics and also the business measure of the success. Then we move to a new way of working. It has to be a daily huddle to review progress, identify roadblocks, and possible it has to be a co-locations. If now in the new pandemic, we can't have everybody in one office. What happened is actually we can do it online. We can do a huddle, online huddle. You know, this is where you need when everybody is there, a cross-functional team, you'll be able to address roadblocks immediately. And these are the key people who having the experience, and essentially those people are expertise in their areas. Then it has to be a continuous improvement iteratively from time to time. When we adopt Agile, it's a new way of decision making. It has to be a customer-driven decision making, empowerment to accelerate decision making, and leaders the bottleneck obstacle. Where we got every day we got a huddle, and who leads? We call it the leaders of the Agile. We call it a project director of that Agile. Is actually given an empowerment to make certain decision making, and it will run around and it will actually make things quicker, make things better. And these are actually a group of people who can actually change the whole process easily by having the right people, expertise, and also we embrace the new culture. All right. Okay, this actually we have actually grown in telecom. By having this, we have grown 10 squad to 22 squads, and by this is actually specifically in HR. I urge, I believe in this community, most of us are HR, so you can try and make it a must to everybody in HR and actually form a squad, a cross-functional from CMB, IR, from the manpower, and as well as an external customer, which is actually the people who's actually outside the THR, they become the squad members and address any initiative that you wanted to implement in your organization. So currently we have actually good progress. We have 22 squad, 182 squad members, and also having a 5 Agile coach with a 6 Agile coach body. Okay, so the learnings and takeaway in ensuring the effectiveness implementing the Agile as a way of new working and also a culture by itself. First, it must be a strong leadership support. Leaders help debottleneck obstacle, provide clear direction, and also the insight. These are very important elements if you talk about Agile to become a culture by itself. Number 2, you need to have a clear mandate on Agile setup. A clear mandate means the approach that you want to pursue in developing, in coming up with the Agile setup. It has to be aligned with the company directions and also the company mission and also the mission. The third one is actually clear understanding. Eliminate the fear of Agile by providing clear understanding. Everybody have to know, embrace the Agile. And number 4, like I mentioned earlier, clear mission. Team having very clear missions, no overlap from other teams to another team. So the last one is actually number 5 is sufficient cross-functional team within a small team, 10 to 15 members with enough cross-functional to drive the outcomes of the missions. These are the learnings that we have actually gone through. We have started 2016, now it's at 2021. We actually learn from others and actually having people give some feedbacks. How do we make things more effective? How people and top management will be able to support the whole of the Agile way working and also become a culture. I think that's all from me. Sharing you guys how do we go looking at overall agile way of culture in Telecom Malaysia. Thank you. Any question?
Thank you very much, Mia, the Deputy CHRO of TM, a very well delivered speech and learning and experience sharing about Agile Transformation. Thank you very much. So we have, I see some question in the chat box. So how about we address one or two questions at this moment before we move to the overall group discussion? Do you mind, Mia?
I have a question. Do you mind?
Yeah.
Right. Thank you very much for that interesting presentation. Right. I think when it comes to agility, it's basically a must in any organization. And I believe with you, Mijah, right, taking over from Farid, TM will be the right track. So my question is that when it comes to agile mindset, because I had some sort of issues back in my previous organization, EPF, they were debating on who are supposed to somehow spearhead the agile initiative, whether it's IT, HR, right? Because when it comes to agility, right, it involves all the divisions, it involves all the departments. But when it comes to championing and making it happen, that's where the challenge comes in. So I would like to know your thoughts on that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ifan, for your question. It's actually when we implemented Agile, the most important is to have the top management support. That's very important. That's the first elements that when we embark into, because we wanted it become a culture. So who drive it is the number one. The CEO of the company, the top management, the C-level must embrace it. Then we cascade down to the level of everybody needs to change the way they are working toward the agile way of new working environments, right? So the other thing is actually HR play a major role where to ensure that consistency, that everybody knows how to do stand up, how to do interactive, how to make sure that discipline, HR is actually those making sure that the right people, because we need to identify who's the sponsor and who is actually the people inside the agile itself. We will be able to make sure that we deliver the numbers, we deliver what is actually supporting the overall AOP or your business plans, right? So HR involvement is very important, because do we have the right people to make sure that we deliver the numbers? So HR get involved and identify the right people, the right talent to make sure the cross-functional teams can work effectively. And as we go on with the new way of working, the agile way of working, we also have people doing BAU, business as usual, right? So we also need to balance out those people are actually supporting the BAU, what we call it. Those are actually doing day-to-day operation to make sure that we will sustain, not collapsing, right? So the other people who's doing agile, those are make a big lifted up the new revenue, the new business elements that we need to deliver for that year. So HR plays a major role here, where it comes to people who will get involved in the agile, who have the right experience, the right competency, the right talent. That is actually where HR comes. HR need to play that role, making sure the right talent to be put into this, what we call agile new way of working, without compromising the existing day-to-day operations. So that is where I think HR play a major role here. All right.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mia.
Can I ask a question?
So in the night of time, so I suggest that Mr. Andhyka to start his speech, so that at the end we have an overall discussion. So yeah. So Mr. Andhyka, so let's pass the floor to you.
Thank you, Foster. Allow me to share my screen.
Sure.
Can everybody see my screen now?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, good morning, everyone. My
Hi,
name
good
is
day.
Andhyka. I'm the head of organization development and talent for Sun Life Indonesia. So why did I greet you with good morning? Because in Sun Life, every day is morning, because hope emerges in morning, and in the morning, we are full of spirit. So let me share you a bit about Sun Life Indonesia. So we are a Canadian-based life insurance company established in 1995 in Indonesia, and we provide solution of protection from life insurance up until the permanent disability. And also we have received recognition, and some of the accolades that we receive is 2020 Gold Stevie Awards, and then 2019 we received the HR Excellence Award for the Employee of the Year, and also in 2019 we received Silver Stevie Award. So that is Sun Life Indonesia. As a life insurance company, we are competing in digital era. There are lots of disruption, and also we are impacted with the pandemic COVID-19. So what is expected from Sun Life Indonesia? That we need to be faster. We need to be faster in delivering our service to meet the client needs, and we also need to be brighter. What do I mean by brighter? So Sun Life Indonesia has to be a brighter place where the engagement is very high from the employees, supported by a very high performance culture. And the third one, we need to be stronger. Yes, Sun Life Indonesia has to have a stronger financial performance to survive in this tough situation in the life insurance industry. So agility is the fuel of how we operate, because agility offers speed and offers flexibility, and also we get feedback instantly from our stakeholders so that the team will work well and have a good orientation in accomplishing their tasks. So agile company, if you want to be an agile company, then we need agile HR. That's why it all started in HR. But then again, if we want to have an agile company, what do we do? So this is what Sun Life Indonesia did. We built the agile capability of our employees. So how did we do it? We have a framework. So I believe that all of you have already familiar with this framework. So we did experiential, exposure, and also education. So if you can see here, experiential has the most or the biggest impact in our learning, followed by exposure and also education. So what did we do in terms of experiential capacity building? So what we do is we set up a project. First is the culture instilling project, and the second one is the client portfolio growth. So the first one is the HR project. The second one is business related. So why did we choose this project setup? Because we want our employees to feel and to plan and to have a good experience so that they know and they learn faster about the Agile. And then we also set up Scrum Squad. So for those of you who are familiar with Agile, actually Agile methodology has, there are a lot of Agile methodology in this world, but then based on research, like 54% of the methodology were utilized in this world is Scrum. That's why we chose Scrum. So the Scrum Squad actually consisted of 3 major parts. First one is the development team, Scrum Master, and also the product owner. So what we did differently is that we appointed product owner from non-HR. For example, for the culture instilling project, we appointed risk management expertise to be the product owner. So why did we do this? Because actually, HR project is not only for HR. HR project is for all employees. And if we can get the buy-in from non-HR about the importance of our project, then the news will spread faster, and then we can get more engagement from other people outside HR. So that's one of the reasons why we chose non-HR personnel to be the product owner of the Scrum Squad for culture instilling project. So that will be the experiential capacity building. Now let's move on to the exposure. We know that changing style or changing mindset is not easy. So that's why we need to have the buy-in or the support from our senior management team. So in order to have our senior management team's support, so we need to equip them first with the importance of using Agile. So that's why amongst the senior management team, we have appointed some of them to be our Agile champions. So what's the use of having Agile champions in the senior management team? So that they can advocate the Agile culture, the Agile mindset, and also it can increase the exposure between the people in the Scrum Squad who do the Agile working project with the senior management team and vice versa. So the senior management team can learn more about Agile implementation from the team. So we work both ways. That's what we did in the exposure capacity building. And the last one is the education. So when we started to educate Agile and Scrum fundamental, who did we start? We started with ourselves, the HR team. So in early 2020, we conducted Agile and Scrum fundamental training for HR, but again, Agile is not only for HR, Agile is for the whole company. So we chose some of people who are in charge of project management to learn about Agile with us, with HR, so that the news about Agile will spread faster and it can be implemented in their daily activities. Not only Agile and Scrum fundamental training, we also did certification on Scrum. So why did we need certification? Because this is a gesture, or this is how the senior management team put their commitment in building Agile culture. So with the certified people, so that we can gain formal education, we know better, and we have more insights from the Scrum certification. And for your information, there are some people in HR who are certified by Scrum Master, and some of them outside HR are also certified as Scrum Master and also Product Owner. And for information, they're not only from the information technology team. We have people from distribution. We have people from operations team that are certified. Why? Because we want to build this Agile culture thoroughly, not only from HR, but also the frontliners, the distribution, the back office operations, and also the middle office. So that's how we did the education capacity building. Now, I'm going to share with you an example of how we did HR project in Agile way. So this is instilling corporate culture. We call it the good to great. So basically, the good to great is a culture project to educate, to mold employees to have 5 main characters that are needed to go better and fly higher. So what we did is to set up a good to great Scrum Squad. If you can see here, the product owner is the leader. The product owner is from risk management. And then we also have Scrum Master who facilitate all the Scrum activities. She is from HR. And the rest of the team, if you can see the composition, they are from anywhere. I mean, they're from distribution, HR, investment, marketing, IT, and also HR. So if you can see here, we include everybody because we want to educate, we want to build Agile thoroughly. Okay. And these are some of the documents that we used during our projects. If you are familiar with the Scrum methodology, actually there are documents called product backlog and also sprint backlog. Product backlog is actually a list of incremental product that is required to accomplish this project. And then we translated the product backlog to sprint backlog to order to realize that product incremental product. So based on this, so we developed campaign in 2020. So if you can see here, we launched a video from our CEO to set the tone from the top. And then we also created an email signature competition, quizzes to engage more in the employees about our culture. And in the middle of the campaign, we also created some educational video so that employees will be able to get understanding more about the new values. And also we conducted an employee survey and also virtual talk to deep dive on the culture. And all of this campaign is resulted and done by Agile methodology. So here is example for educational video. What we did differently is that we gathered the ideas and then we created prototype, and then we right away throw this idea or this prototype to our stakeholder and then got feedback instantly so that we can work it on faster. So that's what we did. Perfection is a long way to go, but then meeting the client's need or meeting the stakeholder needs is most important thing. So that's why we love Agile. And this is an example of the competition, educational video that we launch, quizzes, and we also have the employee survey, the virtual talk, and at the end, we can cover almost all of the employees, 98% of the all employees, and receive positive feedback from the employees. Here are some examples of testimonials. They see that this culture project helps them to improve the capability of himself and also the team. And also it is an eye-opening activity, and they like how the campaign is conducted. So that's the positive feedback that we receive from the employees. So let me close my session with this, is that the idea behind Agile is not about a method. It's about dealing with people differently to get better results. So if we can see, dealing with people differently to get better results is the heart of HR. So that's why Agile has to start from HR. And you don't need to convince executives to make their organizations Agile. Let their competitors convince them. So that's how we promote and also advocate Agile, because if we don't start it, then who? If we don't start it now, then when? Thank you so much. Back to you, Foster.
Thank you, Andhyka. A very vivid explanation of Agile by using your organization Sun Life as an example. Thank you, Andhyka, again, the head of organization development and talent management. All right. So again, I see lots of questions from the chat box. So I think it's the time for both of you to address to them. Let's address them together, right? So so let me start. So the first one is how can HR explore a career in Agile? So maybe Mia could start first. What's your opinion on that?
Again, sorry, I can't hear you, Foster. What was the question?
So, the question is in the chat box. The first one is, how can HR explore a career in Agile?
Okay, all right. Okay. For me, how HR explore a career in Agile is actually you become one of the Agile coach. It's actually when you become an Agile coach, you embrace the way of doing things in Agile, so you become expertise. And if you have those certificates or those have experience in become Agile coach, you can actually become more valuable, more having those systematic way of doing things, and everybody out there are looking for agile coach, and having those experience is important for HR, and you'll be able to look a different way of doing things. That's my view. Okay.
Okay, thank you. So how about Andhyka?
Well, I agree with what me just mentioned. Is that agile coach is, I think, is one of the sought career role in the industry. We in Sun Life, actually in the Sun Life Asia, we have already had a special dedicated agile coach and also agile team who is really specialized. So they don't do the BAU outside the Scrum or say the agile work. But then in Sun Life Indonesia, at the moment, we are still having hybrid working between agile and also the BAU, so that if we can connect with a career in agile, I would say agile expertise will help them to boost their career, but not really in the agile specific role at the moment. But then we continuously seek to improve the organization, to see the adjustment, how we can fit this agile working of way of working to into a formal structure. But then the most important thing is that we need to have this agile culture built first, embedded in our culture. Then we move on to shift the organization model into a more agile way. So that's my note.
Yeah, Mr. Andhyka, as you mentioned at the end of your speech, so you talk about that dealing with people differently, right, is about the agility, and also it is the work of HR. So I think agile and HR really is a nice match. So and everyone here should to pursue some kind of more knowledge or even a certification program about agility, so that we can play our HR role in a more effective way. Okay, the second question is being agile is essential. What's the strategic approach to ensure your people has the right competence and skills towards having the agile mindset, holistic thinking, and customer-first culture? As Mia mentioned in her speech, agile is a culture. It's not just a methodology. So Mia, so could you start to address this question from Arvind first?
Okay. When we talk about agile, like I mentioned, agile is a mindset change. It's not so much about how you do it, how you can gain competency. It's not so much about that. It's actually you got to embrace the new way of working, and you put the right competency of people to deliver it in a different way. Meaning that you have a cross-functional and expertise within the group that will be deliver it much more faster, quicker, and more efficient. Because when you work in a small team with about 10 to 15 people in that cross-functional team, you'll be you will be able to address any problems immediately, because you make the decisions, you own it, and everybody be able to make and give feedback within the group. So for me, it's actually when you have that cross-functional team, you'll be able to address the roadblocks and able to hear and address what are the customer issues outside, rather than looking inwards. It's more of looking outward rather than looking inwards. That is why being an agile is the mindset change, because your customer pay your salary. You have to embrace that in new way of working. If you don't address the customer, the customer will run away from you, and you are not going to become a competitive to the market, right? So not many company create the needs for the customer. Most of the company address what the customer wants. But sometimes customer doesn't know what they want, right? It's in something you got to find the right balance, because for those customer doesn't know what they want, you create the needs, and you try to the market and try how the feedback from the customer. For the existing is how you must address when you provide the services, how do you be address their concern, their complaint, so that we'll be able to move to the next level and give the best customer service to the customer. That's my view.
Thank you. So, Mr. Andhyka, so you mentioned about a framework is about experiential, exposure, and education. Do you have something to add by responding to Mr. M's, Iran's questions?
Yes, actually, that will be our approach in the building the agile capabilities. But then to add to that is that people, while learning, needs example. They need some people to look up to. So that's why the culture project is one of the high-level strategic project, and it was announced by our CEO in the employee town hall. So what we do when we accomplish that project is we build awareness of how the project was going on through the email, through the social network, and we advocate how we did it differently, so that the first thing is to build the awareness, and then keep to infiltrate the agile principle to any development program that we have, so that that people can know that this works and this has good result. So I think link agile to the strategic project where everybody can see the progress, the objective, and also the result. I think it's also a good strategic approach.
Yes, yes. Thank you. So the third question comes from Mr. M. How is the customer-driven decision-making initiative is implemented?
Let me answer that. Okay. For customer-driven decision-making initiative, what we have done, have you heard about design thinking? So in order for us to make sure that we know and know the customer needs, know how to address the customer, we while having a group of teams looking at what we call it agile, a team agile, we also doing a design thinking. So we have those people in the agile be able to do a design thinking with the customer and actually listen to the customer feedback and needs. Then they will be able to come up with the prototype, the right prototype for the customer. That's important for us to know what are the wants, the needs for the customer by having that design thinking process, while making sure that we have the right decision to the customer.
So okay. The ultimate decision making comes from the customer side, right? So yes.
You cannot be like short sendiri, okay? I think the Malaysian know the short sendiri connotations, right? So you got to listen more to the customer. Sometimes you'll be blinded by, you know, yourself having a lot of things. But when you listen customer, that is what they actually don't want that. They'll probably want a simple solution, you know, but we think so complicated and, you know, areas that probably we don't address the right, we don't give the right message to these people.
Yeah, so how about Andhyka? So any thoughts on that?
Yes, one of the agile projects that we do is the client portfolio growth project. It's how we can retain our existing clients. So what we did is that we set up a survey. We designed a survey in Agile Scrum Squad, and also based on that result, we do A/B testing so that we know that which solution can be can meet clients' needs. Although by doing it agile, it provides a quicker solution and quicker feedback from our stakeholders and also our clients. So that's how we do agile project related to the customer-driven program.
Hey, Mr. Andhyka, you also mentioned the two terms, the Scrum Master and Product Owner and Developer in your case study. So can you elaborate more about what is the Product Owner as compared to the Scrum Master?
Yes. So the Product Owner is actually the person who determines on the product incremental. So what features that we want to build? So what is the expectation? So this person liaises with the project sponsor or the senior management to meet their needs. So the Scrum Master is the person who facilitates all of the Scrum activities. For example, there are some Scrum events, sprint planning, and then also the sprint itself, the daily stand-up, the sprint review, and also the sprint retrospective. So the Scrum Master needs to ensure that this team really goes and implement those processes, because the heart of the Scrum or Agile is the discipline. And the last one is the development team. The development team is the one who make the product incremental realized. So they are self-organizing team. They can do their own way as long as it accomplishes the product incremental. And also they liaise with the product owner to check and recheck whether this is going to the right way or this is going far. So those are the different roles in Scrum, actually, in Scrum Agile team. I hope that answers your question, Foster.
All right. So if I refer to the decision making, so it's really a collective one. So we can't say one overrides another one. So product owner got someone to be responsible, but at the same time, the development team need to be responsible to the implementation and actualization. So it's really kind of a teamwork to make the decision, right? Thank you. Thank you very much. So the next question is, this is a very specific question to Mia. So anyone want Mia to share the TM organization structure change from 2017 to 2021 in adapting the agile practice?
All right. Okay. Thanks for the question, Anwar. Okay. What happened is actually in 2017 until 2021, we have actually adopting two-speed organizations. Two-speed organizations means that we have those people who are keeping the lights on, the BAU, as well as a group of agile squad team to actually address the uplift of the customer, the revenue, the cost, as well as the people's area. So these are the four things that currently we have about 43 agile squad all over Telecom Malaysia to address those issues. So we have one organization, which is actually the BAU that I mentioned earlier, looking at the hierarchicals and making sure that keeping the lights on, making sure that to the operations is not distracted. But on the other hand, is actually those areas are looking at the four things that the directions for 2021 to 2023. That's the 3 years of how we were able to flip the whole organizations and able to address and achieve our revenue targets, our business targets, our customer customer experience, the NPS, and so forth. So these are the area 43 squad addressing those areas. So we this is how we organize ourselves, the agile group of people, and the other is actually keeping the current lights on, which is the BAU. So this is how we adapting the agile practice. That's why, as I mentioned, HR plays an important role, who stays in the BAU, who's going to actually support the new squad, which is actually doing agile mode of working, because not everybody will be able to go and do the agile things, right? So these are the uplifted things that the revenue, the cost that we wanted to achieve. But this is actually the BAU thingy that you just cannot ignore it, because these are the basic fundamental to some extent. Okay, did I answer you, Anwar?
Thank you for sharing the organization spirit to meet the needs of being agile. So Andhyka, could you share if you spot any organization structure change or arrangement to fit the agile culture in your organization?
Yes, at the moment, actually, it's gradual change, but we haven't made a major organization transformation to accommodate Agile. But then as we have now more and more certified Agile practitioners, then we are still seeking opportunity to adjust the organization, and then to select how we can operate, which business model is suitable to accommodate Agile. Yeah.
All right. So Mr. M has another question. That is having an agile mindset, which is the first thing in agility. So we need to have agile value. So could the speakers elaborate a bit more on this? What are the agile values? Mia?
Okay, agile values is actually the stand up thing, right? You need to have a stand up. Everybody would able to embrace the way of new working, because you need to have a discipline. You need to have a stand up every morning. Probably it's just about half an hour, 20 minutes to half an hour. Everybody updates what they are actually doing. The other one is actually the process is actually iterative. So it's every week you will have looking at the sprint. How long is actually normally it's about 2 weeks sprint, right? So that is actually the new things that you got to stand up. You got to update everybody. You got the two-week sprint that you need to turn around. So from the sprint that you have that conversations every day stand up meeting, you'll be able to address the roadblocks. If you don't do it correctly, you got to change immediately. You know, it's a very adaptive things. You got to change, and how do we do better? So every 2 week sprint, you'll be doing learning and probably make mistake from that sprint, right? So, but it will not be long, because you always have looking at 2 week sprint. So that is actually the value that I'm seeing by embracing agile way of working. Because if you ask me currently, not currently, probably before embracing the agile, you need until end of the project, then you say, okay, we need to review that again. So it will time consuming. People to some extent have actually made certain decisions along the way, but you need to go back for certain things and feedback. But in agile way, it's a 2 week sprint. You have the time and make mistake and do better. Make mistake, do enhancement, feedback, and so forth. So this is actually the agile value that I find it the value, the culture, the mindset change that I'm talking about. Okay.
Very insightful. Yeah. Thank you. So Andhyka, could you elaborate with one value at your organization?
I agree. On top of what Mijah has said about open communication through the daily stand-up, I think the accountability is higher, highly expected, because if you see in the development team, there is no leader, so they are in the same rank. They are in the same. I mean, they have the same right and they have the same accountability, and they work as a team. So by doing that, actually, nobody is waiting for someone's decision to do this and to do that. So that if they see that this needs to be fixed, and we get feedback from our stakeholders or our clients, then they will shift or they will fix it right away. So I think having development team with no leader position, it's an advantage for Agile team. That is one of the Agile value that I find most useful.
Yeah, again, very solid addition on that. So we have a question from Rita. It's for Andhyka. So for the HR project on cultural change, how did you measure its effectiveness? Did you set any key result outcome for it? And how do you relate it to agility?
Okay, in terms of the culture campaign itself, we have several measurements. For example, how many people are covered and attended our sessions? What about our engagement rate on each engagement activities, such as like quizzes and competitions? And also, how do leaders implement their behaviors? I mean, the new behaviors. So we have set several, I would say, questionnaires and surveys, so that we can learn the effectiveness of our campaign. But in terms of the Agile itself, I shared with you about the product backlog. So in each product backlog, we have several criteria to measure whether it is successful. For example, when we launch the video, we want it to be seen by at least 90% of our employees, so that we track when we launch the video, and then within several days after, we track whether it has been seen by how many number of employees. So if we found that the number is very low, for example, and then we can chase the employees to see or to watch the video. So yes, there are two major criteria. First, for the culture campaign, and also the product backlog can be our measurement of effectiveness of how we do it Agile. I hope it answers your question, Rita.
How about, yes, sure. So Mia, could you shed some light on the measurement on Agile projects?
All right. Okay. Probably I can share my slide because I have it actually. Give me times. I share with you guys my slides. Okay. Okay. I also answer few question. How does HR manage our staff? Right. Okay. Can you see my slide? Okay. Can you guys see my slide? A little bit. I can actually share.
Yes.
Okay. So these are the three box model that have been how we organize for the past 2 decades. Okay, we have HR business partner, we have center of expertise, and we also has our shared services service center. Okay, then we actually new operating model for HR. We have been researched by McKinsey. The CHRO having a business partner about 5%. We have the center of excellence about 5% and shared services about 40%. And we have a pool of HR professional looking, these are where the Agile come into picture, where everybody is actually at the 50%. So this is how we organize ourselves. So we introduced a TM operating model in 2019, an Agile operating model that increased the business focus, efficiency, and as well as the effectiveness. So this is how we organize ourselves. Innovation, these are the operation delivery, these are the business driver, these are the pool of Agile, and these are all the center of excellence. Okay, so we also being research, and so the same things areas of how do HR operating model for the future. So it's more or less is actually about 10% is actually business strategy at the business unit, the business partner. 40% is the problem solvers, and 10% is the next generation, the COE. So we adopt this model in our organization, where we actually implement the Agile. So you'll be able to see, for example, we have a squad named Wellness being 360 because of the pandemic. So number of staff previously is actually participate and able to give up perceptions and feedback. It's actually increased it's actually from 975 to 4,965 people. Is actually the year to date is actually increased. You'll be able to see in the numbers is increased. Squad future scaling is also, despite no physical training about MCO, higher attendance were captured about 453 sessions be conducted. The rescaling, so about we have everywhere now everybody can sell. So we actually train about 1,550% is increasing the value, where we have those are non-sales. What we train them to reskill themselves to become a salesperson. They will bring revenue about 115 million new sales in 2020. Okay, these are the positive outcome coming from. These are the employee and feedback comments on how by having that Agile Squad, people this is actually an app. We do an Agile Squad. We develop the app within the Agile Squad and able to manage the employee satisfactions and also experience. These are some feedback coming from the people on the ground. Sorry, this is actually in Malay, so most of our Malaysians actually can understand. For example, that we were saying that the flow system is very simple, and the info is actually sufficient enough, simple and efficient. We have ERA. ERA is an app everybody can use. All HR apps under ERA. It's actually very simple, very fast, and you get the right information was given. So these are some feedback from the customer. So by having an Agile Squad in HR and also others is very important. These are my Agile Squad HR, a clear accountability to drive specific result, right sizing, future skilling, right skilling, the shift, the medical. So we have a lot of people in HR doing and managing the squad, addressing a specific area, accountability. So you can able to see these are some from all over HR's staff having their own heading the Agile Squad. So these are the people in the HR looking. These are some positive having received positively for those in the squad. So they are talking about a very new but the most effective way of enhancing individual productivity, which may contribute to the overall company productivity and also lead to profitability. These are some feedback that you can see under HR who are actually in the squad. They are feeling great. They say they accelerate more. And BAU need to transform to Agile yesterday. So these are very good feedback that you can see from the staff. So that's this is how working from home doesn't stop a working Agile way of working. So this is from physical. Now we actually go online. Everybody be able to address online and managing it and doing stand-up meeting every morning about 20 to half an hour. So this is how we manage. Do I answer a lot of the question here?
Yeah, for those for the question written down, but I had not mentioned it. Thank you, Mia. Thank you very much. So I'm fascinated to see the comment that is BAU should be agile starting from yesterday, right? So for those HR who have not implemented agile in your organization, today we are so glad, we are so excited to have a crash course by Mia and Andhyka. So we see a lot of common languages like the framework, the accountability, the culture, the mindset. Those are really the core of the core inside being agile organization. So we are so glad that we can learn in such a short time. Thank you very much for your sharing. So AsiaHRM is a platform for you. We aim to add value to HR professionals and managers in Asia, and we share to care and care to share. So if you have any ideas and thoughts that could add value to HR in Asia, do talk to us, talk to Rita, talk to Alban, talk to me, and let's make AsiaHRM an even better platform to all of you. Okay? All right. So let's officially end this session. For those who still want to seek some information or experience or advice from Mia and Andhyka, so feel free to stay.
Yeah.
So I guess the two speakers, without my
yes.
permission,
Thanks, Foster. Yes, I can stay for a while.
Stay for some more time. So anyway, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me. Okay, take care.